okay, I won't ask you how old, I will ask you how old you are, okay? Because you're young enough that it's probably not insulting to ask you. So.
I'm 22, so I'm probably young and naive, right?
No, why aren't you 60? Why aren't you 60?
Because it...
And why can't you identify as 60? What is the problem with you identifying as 60?
It's kind of the same as gender. You can't just...
You're right. Age is significantly less important than gender. You can't magically change your gender. You can't magically change your sex. You can't magically change your age.
Hi. You're neither male nor female, right?
That's true. I identify as non-binary, which means that I'm neither male nor female, and correspondent to that, I use the they, them pronoun.
And you say gender roles are damaging our society, so we need to think very carefully about language, yeah?
Yes. So a lot of our social selves are codified and encultured in the language that we use. We really use it to construct our entire society. And what's certainly true is that there is a huge variance of gender presentation and gender identity within humankind. There isn't simply
humankind,
men
and
women. Exactly, humankind in place of mankind.
You wouldn't say... what about people who are non-binary? What about people who are gender fluid?
We're all male and female. We've always... Yes, of course, we're all male and female. There are
what about transgender people?
There are a tiny minority of people who have intersex conditions, and there are a tiny minority of people who have some condition where they may have a female brain and a male body. Apart from this, we are all male and female, and the attempt to suggest that there is a third gender is, as far as I'm concerned, it's an ideological and a political project. It doesn't exist. The words male and female have existed throughout history, throughout the world. They refer, men are people who have penises, women are people who have vaginas. It's as simple as that. I would absolutely refuse to refer to this woman here, who's clearly a woman, as a they, because for me that would be imposing an ideological political system. Because she is. If everybody watching this programme can see that she is a woman. And
that's
imposing.
Your problem. I think that's actually your
imposing.
problem. You're imposing.
No, you are asking me to engage in an ideological, political system which I disagree with. I believe we are all male and female.
By what they should be called is imposing an ideological system.
No, I really want to come back and address just some of the scientific inaccuracies of your statement. It just is not true to say that on a biological level we are only male or female. Being intersex, which is a combination of 32 different ways your chromosomes can combine, is as common as being red-haired. But that's biological. Gender is socially constructed and performed and is separate to your body. It may align. You may have a female assigned or perceived body and be female, but you may not. I do not present in a masculine or androgynous way because I question the idea that to be non-binary, I have to masculinize my appearance. By you saying that you refuse to use my pronouns or refer to me as the gender that I am is one of the grossest acts of disrespect that I'm forced to endure on a daily basis. You clearly have no empathy or no respect for people like me or the wider trans community, and that immediately diminishes my respect for you as an individual.
Your respect for me is already diminished if you insist that I ascribe to some ideology of third gender, which I do not agree with. If this he and she is socially constructed, how come everybody watching this, everybody in the audience, can basically identify male and female just by looking? Occasionally there are people who are more difficult to identify, and we try to be tactful, but it's not just socially ascribed. It relates to a physical reality reflected in our voices, our appearances, in all kinds of ways.
It's a great language.
And quite happily, the singular they, them has been in the English language for quite a long time. So, for example, you find a lost object, you say, oh, someone's left their bag on the train station. Maybe we should try and return it to them.
That's
because
we don't know.
Because it's clunky. Someone has left his or her bag on the train station. That takes more time to say. It's clunky. It's a Frankenstein sentence. And the singular they, them has been an English language use.
I love that phrase, Frankenstein. Emma, I love that phrase, Frankenstein sentence. That's a great phrase. Belinda.
We mustn't lose sight of the fact that language does refer to a reality. As a writer, I'm very aware of this. It's very important. He, she refers to a male and female reality. And I think that there is something very serious at stake if we really do start eroding concepts of male and female, which I believe is happening, and it is.
People are very worried about that. For a reason
Is that
that's
happening?
quite comprehensive.
Concepts of
Entertainment journalist Zoe Tur, pilot and reporter who herself is transgender, and Ben Shapiro, senior editor, Breitbart News, author of Bullies. Ben, did she deserve this award?
For what?
For courageously coming forward, for having been an athlete of great prowess and now fighting a new battle.
What exactly is the battle? I mean, self-definition is what you do, and my baby's doing it at 18 months old. I wasn't aware that you get a medal for it.
Be a hero. Be a hero.
Listen to Zoe. Listen to Zoe.
Zoe, go ahead.
Good try. You have to bifurcate it. Did she deserve the honor? Probably not. Is she brave? Of course she's brave. All those years invested as this sports legend. To come out transgender is horribly difficult. It is the most difficult thing you can do. I've been overseas. I've flown helicopter missions, surveillance missions. I've been shot, stabbed. Being brave is being yourself. And being transgender is about the bravest thing you can do. Did she deserve the award? Yes.
Why are we mainstreaming delusion?
It's not delusion.
Why would you call it delusion?
Because Bruce Caitlyn Jenner, I'll call him Caitlyn Jenner.
No,
because
it's
that's
her. You're not being polite to the pronouns.
Because
disrespectful.
Okay, forget about the disrespect. Facts don't care about your feelings. It turns out that every chromosome, every cell in Caitlyn Jenner's body is male with the exception of some of his sperm cells. It turns out that his brain structure is male. It turns out that he still has all of his male appendages. How he feels on the inside is irrelevant to the question of his biological sex.
I don't agree with that. I'm not on that train. I'm not on that train. She wants to be called she. I'm going to call her she. I just have a problem with the message and the messenger.
So well, let's I'm going to do two things. I want to reiterate what Zoe said, which is the bifurcation of the courage to come forward after a lifetime as a male and a certain kind of a male versus did she deserve this award? Listen, awards, what are award ceremonies except an opportunity to catch some eyes?
Especially the ESPN.
So, yeah. ESPN, well done, ABC. They did exactly what their job was, to attract eyes. They did it. That's what award ceremonies are for. But in terms of the science behind gender dysphoria, you're very familiar with that, Zoe.
Very familiar.
It's not about the chromosomes within our nuclei. Yeah, go ahead.
Chromosomes don't necessarily mean you're male or female.
Gender.
With gender
identity. Go ahead. No, so
especially, but even so, you have a thing like Klinefelter's syndrome. So you don't know what you're talking about. You're not educated on genetics.
Would you like to discuss the genetics? Or
no,
what are your genetics?
So I'd stay away from the genetics and back to the brain scans.
You cut that out now, or you'll go home in an ambulance.
Yeah, that seems mildly inappropriate for a political discussion.
No, I know. Well, but wait. To be fair, but to be fair, you're actually being rude. And that's not fair.
I'm sorry, it's not rude to say that someone who is biologically a male is a male. Someone who is biologically male is a male.
But Mr. Shapiro, you knew very well that saying that to Zoe would be egregiously insulting.
It's not a matter of insulting or inflammatory.
It
is.
It's a fact. No, well,
you're a male. Dr. Drew is a male.
Sir, you're right. On paper, what is a fact is a fact, and I can't deny that. But you knew that going in, that saying that to Zoe would be aggressively insulting.
It's not a matter of aggressively insulting.
It is.
The entire discussion is whether we are embracing mental illness and delusion as a society. That's the entire discussion.
No. But you're avoiding the fact. You're avoiding the fact. If you want to talk facts, you're avoiding the fact. You're not a dumb man. You knew that saying that to Zoe would be incredibly hurtful.
Stop it. Roll on. Zoe, you're in that piece. You're saying it wasn't a transgender going at their own pace. It was a product rollout. What are the liabilities to the human being, Caitlyn Jenner, as a result of being a part of this product rollout?
Well, you can't sustain that type of energy. You cannot sustain that type of fame. Things shift. You have to reinvent yourself. But I think at some point this comes crashing down because along with all this, adulation and hype, eventually you find out that you're really in an existential crisis because what's my life really going to be like? Will it be... You have to deal with people like this, the hatred, the people that, that come out against you and say...
We're calling you delusional. It wasn't because it's hatred.
Yeah, that's hatred.
Okay.
This is just somebody that's
I don't hate you. I have sympathy for you. I feel terrible for you.
No, you do hate. You're consumed with hatred. That is who you are. You're a little man. You're a little man. Actually, I do.
Let's stick to the topic. Let's not disperse.
But I mean, that's okay. He can be whatever he wants. But the point is,
right. That's what this is all about, isn't it?
It is. It is. But there's ramifications for hate speech. But the point is that
ramifications?
Let me finish.
Go ahead. Finish, Zoe.
Little boy.
Zoe.
Okay.
Zoe.
So I'm sorry.
It's all everybody.
Buttons are being pushed.
Go ahead.
The whole point is that gender will come crashing down.
Okay.
Because
well, like in other reality shows, I saw a Facebook post where there was 30 reality shows that contestants.
A non-athlete, I think that this is her mission in life. And if I could ask you, because I'm still harping on some of the things that you mentioned earlier.
Back to Ben.
To Ben, you come from, like, in your mind, a moralist, right?
No, I come from a basic biological reality.
But okay,
it's not a moral thing. If somebody wants to mutilate their body, that's their choice.
It's not mutilation, but can we just talk about
cutting off your testicles is mutilation?
Can we talk about
That's not actually what they do, though, right?
Okay, hold on.
They go inside out.
Well, but they don't even know, most transgender don't have the genital reassignment. Most of them are not.
Okay, Ben, can I finish real quick? Because this is important.
Well, I want to let you piggyback on something. May I let you do that?
Yes, you may.
Because
my blood is boiling.
I know, and I'm going to give you a little more fuel. This is now, because Ben is part of a lot of people that have various kinds of feelings about this. This is what Zoe's talking about. Here's Peter Berg, best known for producing Friday Night Lights. He posted this picture on Instagram with the caption, quote, "One man traded 2 legs for the freedom of the other to trade 2 balls for 2 boobs.
Yeah.
Guess which man made the cover of Vanity Fair? It was praised for his courage by President Obama and is to be honored with the Arthur Ashe Courage Award by ESPN." That's similar stuff you're reacting
so first,
to.
what if they're watching right now? What if there's a teen out watching right now that is struggling with who they are, living their truth?
Let's talk about some of the biological facts for 1 second.
No, I want you to answer me. What would you say to a teen right now that really believes 100%?
Allow me to answer your question.
I'm full of emotion right now because people die.
I've noticed.
Clearly, it doesn't bother you because you're sitting there stone-faced and cold-hearted.
Of course it bothers me when people commit suicide, which is one of the reasons I don't believe that transgender surgery is the solution, considering that the suicide rate after transgender surgery is precisely the same as the suicide rate before transgender surgery.
Yeah, because then technically they're not passing, and then they're open for more discrimination.
Okay. The transgender suicide rate is approximately 0.8 in every 100. The only comparable suicide rate in human history of which I am aware is Jews living under Austrian and German rule during World War II. To liken the treatment of transgenders in the United States or the Western world to Jews living under Nazi. No, I'm actually comparing apples to apples in terms of the suicide rate.
But I think if you can see what discrimination
why don't we
does,
look at actual solutions?
Why
is it
then stop hating, tolerate.
It's not. I'm happy to tolerate whatever people want to do is what they want to do. But the idea that the surgery itself is something to be glorified, to be reveled in the mental illness.
I think if you can bring up the difficulty that Jewish people have faced because of hatred, then why can't you as a human, as Dr. Maya Angelou would say, that I am human, so therefore nothing human can be alien to me. Why can't you take that position and understand based upon your history?
I don't hate anybody who has a mental illness and is trying to figure out how to fix that.
There might have been people who said...
I'm not going to liken the treatments of Jews under Nazis.
No, I think anytime a life is in trouble, we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble.
The reason I brought that up is as a comparison of the treatments of the two and saying that the suicide rate is similar. So therefore, if the circumstances of the two are different, and the
circumstances may not be different. If you have bullying, if you have murders, there is a genocide on transgender children right now.
I think we are missing.
Gotta wrap it there. I gotta wrap it there. Ben, let me just deal with your biological question, mental illness question. Let's say that transgender is a mental illness. How would you? What's the goal of treatment then?
The goal of treatment would be to cure whatever.
Can't cure it. It's not curable.
Okay.
Lots of illnesses are not curable. This one has to not be curable. What's alcoholism? Alcoholism, for instance. What's the goal?
So the goal would be to allow people to live with it in an appropriate way.
To flourish, right?
To flourish.
Not to require them to assign to one gender or another, but to flourish.
Right. Without imposing on the rest of society a necessity for fictionalized thinking. Okay, because that actually is a cost to society. I'm sorry, but my grandfather was bipolar, okay?
Yeah.
And he thought that the radio was talking to him.
Yeah.
They put him in a mental hospital. They did not tell him the radio was talking to him to allow him to live a better life. They put him into a mental hospital, and then they gave him lithium, which allowed him to live a better life. Looking for better solutions than transgender surgery would be a better solution.